Hey, welcome back to the eDrum Workshop. I'm Luke and I hope you're having a great day. Sort of a semi-update, semi-WTF video today about something that's been recently brought to my attention. Those of you who've watched for a while might remember that a few months ago I did a video covering a new sample pad being crowdfunded on Kickstarter. I'll just be quickly recapping for context in case anyone's missed it or forgotten. dbdrums, a company from Argentina, were offering up their nPad as a cheaper alternative to sample pads like the SPD-SX, and I thought it looked pretty interesting. Nothing groundbreaking, but it looked like a decent shot at another multipad that might work well for people on a budget. I found out about it from Digital Drummer Magazine's Facebook page, and I know that Justin from 65 Drums put out a video within a few minutes on the same day, weirdly, that also included it as part of a rundown of upcoming eDrum products. I chose to make a full video when I first saw it, as I personally decided that I would back it. The idea of contributing towards smaller eDrum companies seemed like a noble one to me, and of course I thought it might be of interest to viewers of this channel. The Kickstarter campaign speaks of their development process and timeline, where basically they've already developed the product itself and were in the testing and ironing out phase, and the funding was effectively to allow for mass production. I guess sort of a pre-sale, make sure the demand is there kind of deal. The tier that I got in at was quite a low one on the list, €226, which came out as about £197, although I was charged a non-sterling transaction fee of about £5 or £6, and I was happy with that for what was apparently available. Some of the higher tiers in the alleged full retail price went up to a price that I couldn't really justify for me. If the idea was to be a cheaper version of the SPD-SX, paying around £400 for this wouldn't have been a very enticing idea. But for the price I paid, I was happy with it. I briefly spoke to dbdrums over Facebook Messenger to let them know about the video that I would be putting out, and they said that they'd send over an additional item with my unit, either a stand or a pad. I thought that was pretty cool of them, and I thanked them for it, and I let them know that I would likely be doing a full review down the line. But for the sake of transparency, I want to make it clear that I would have been mentioning that in my full review anyway, and that didn't have any sway on how I was already scripting the previous video that I put out. I'd already written the bulk of it and I just needed some additional details from them, which I then got. The Kickstarter was funded in April with 33 backers. Nice one. I look forward to seeing it in June as per the Kickstarter, although their update afterwards said late July at the soonest, which I thought was a little bit weird. I wasn't sure if it was mistranslated from at the latest or if they were hinting at being slowed down. I've seen some comments since on their Instagram suggesting that they'll be sending them out in July. With everything currently going on in the world, I didn't really think too much of it, to be honest. So fast forward to a week or so ago and to what this video is about, I had a comment pop up on my nPad video from Professor Dictabeat saying that Gear4Music was selling these sample pads under their house brand for €230. I checked out the link provided and sure enough, here's what I saw. This Gear4Music DD90 DigiPad Sampler is identical to the nPad, bar for sporting the Gear4Music branding rather than the dbdrums branding. I was pretty shocked, to be honest, as at the time it was penciled in for release on the 2nd of June, I think it was, and now it is indeed in stock and available to purchase from Gear4Music. It was also brought to my attention again on the Facebook comments of my video too, and I've seen the Gear4Music sampler pop up on a few Facebook groups and the vDrums forum since then as well. This raised a fair few questions for me, so I sent a message over to dbdrums to see if I could get a response out of them, maybe clearing up how and or why this would be the case. I was hoping I'd at least get some kind of official line about it, but they read it and they didn't respond. I also sent a follow-up message afterwards, but from what I can tell, it's been sat on sent and it hasn't been delivered since I sent it. So what's actually going on here? I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. I could take a few guesses, but without any communications from them, I can't really confirm anything. I've been through a few different thought processes over the time, and I didn't want to make a video instantly, as jumping straight onto a video last time clearly hasn't really helped anything. So my initial thoughts were just that I and 32 other people have been straight up scammed. And I'm not really leaning quite as hard into this now, as we've previously seen the product in action on Justin's video, and there's been quite a few other product demo videos put out by dbdrums. So the product does exist as it needs to in order for Gear4Music to be selling a version of it. So my two main guesses now would be as follows. The first would be that they've changed their plans along the way and sold this design on to Gear4Music to distribute as part of the process. Possibly even other companies, will have to keep an eye out for that. And maybe the Kickstarter was being used as a proof of concept to sell it off to other distributors alongside their own branded release. Or my second guess would be that this may have already been made by another company and they've stuck their own branding on it, using the Kickstarter to fund purchasing them in while other companies also buy them up and brand them as their own, like a lot of companies do with Modeli products, for example. Gear4Music's own branded eDrums are mostly Modeli rebrands from what I can tell, and some of the dbdrums stuff definitely seems like it's from them too. The hi-hat pedal that they use looks like a Modeli one, and I think their cymbals might well be as well. Now, Digital Drummer did ask them about this according to their post, but dbdrums said that this wasn't the case. But to be honest, I don't really know enough about how the business side of these things operate. I'm far more of a features and a technical specs kind of guy, but it definitely feels like something doesn't add up here either way. The Kickstarter effectively claims that this is their own design and a brand new tech, yet Gear4Music have their version out earlier than dbdrums does, and it's coming in at the exact price point of the low tiers of the dbdrums Kickstarter. €230 in Europe and £199 in the UK, which, once you add the shipping onto the Gear4Music one, comes in around what I paid for the Kickstarter once you include the conversion fee. So I've checked out as much as I can about the DD90 DigiPad, and it would appear that there's very few differences, if any, beyond the rebadge. I checked out the manual and all of the features appear to be exactly what I gleaned from my initial nPad video. There's 619 samples built into the DD90, and there's apparently 620 in the nPad. It wouldn't surprise me if this has just been rounded up. There is a chance that the samples could be different ones, or that there's one extra in the nPad. I can't know that for sure without hearing them in action, but from looking at the screenshots of the LCD screen, the kit names in the promo material are identical, so it would be really surprising if they weren't the exact same kits and samples. I also downloaded the Wav Manager software for the DD90, which is linked on the Gear4Music product page, and I compared that to the photo from the nPad Kickstarter page. From where I'm sitting, it looks like it's the exact same software, it's just been reskinned for the brand. And I suppose time will tell if we'll see any other seemingly identical rebrands of this sampler. So I'm pretty pissed off, to be fair, as you can imagine. And of course, I've taken this risk. I've thrown my money into what looked like a nice idea that could help a smaller company, when I could have happily waited for it to come to market, or as I can see now, bought one of these Gear4Music versions when that one came out, for the same price that I've paid for the Kickstarter, but with a UK warranty and the security of easy returns. I'm well aware that this will always be an inherent risk when it comes to Kickstarter, but this is less about the worry of backing something that turns out to not be what you want it to be, and more about whether the way that it's been presented was genuine or not. If the dbdrums Kickstarter had already been fulfilled, and then down the line the Gear4Music one came out off the back of them selling it on, then more power to them. But Gear4Music being able to bring the same product out before this even gets shipped suggests that the story is maybe not the one that we were sold on. And I'm also annoyed at myself, as the idea that this video might have led anybody else to back the project and then find this out too is quite frankly horrifying to me. And this isn't to say that I'm not going to get what I paid for, although I'm not really sure what the deal is here, and it seems pretty deceptive when lining up what the blurb says with what's cropped up now. There's nothing specifically suggesting that it won't be delivered on. They're still pushing the upcoming nPad on their social media, and it's on their website, which is moved now, by the way. The Kickstarter link doesn't work anymore, but the new site can be found with a quick search. But my confidence has definitely been knocked on this one, especially with being ignored when asking about it and the release date seemingly creeping a little bit later. I mean, taking somebody's money and then not answering their concerns is never a good start, and it hardly helps somebody trust your brand. I've put in a request for an update on their Kickstarter, and I'll be trying to glean more information through other channels in the meantime. But I felt like I couldn't really just sit on this and ignore it when I covered the nPad and the Kickstarter to begin with. If the company won't communicate with me on the messages, maybe they'll speak to me as a response to this. And I'm not searching for a refund if the pad will make its way to me. And of course I'll still review it too, but this will have to factor in. And I would really like to know the full story behind what's gone on so that I can inform people who might look to my opinion or knowledge for eDrum gear. I don't like the idea that I might have misled anyone because I was a bit too enthusiastic about something that looked promising, so I couldn't really ignore it. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Without knowing exactly what's going on, let's keep things civil until we know the full story. Do you have any knowledge or information of situations like this that have happened before? Do you have any good suggestions of what lines to go down to get a response? Maybe I'll try Gear4Music, but I can't imagine getting a lot out of them. So let me know. If this video was in any way useful, you know the YouTube drill. I'll try and get more information out when it makes its way over to me. So stay tuned for any updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers!